Bitesize Guitar channel and to another guitar tutorial. Today we're going to be taking a look at You Should Be Sad by Halsey. It's a relatively simple song that you can play the entire thing using only 4 chords. So I'm also going to take you through a basic strumming pattern you can use throughout the entire song, as well as the fingerpicking part that plays in the intro and verse sections of the song. Okay, so let's get into it. Right, so let's begin by taking a look at the 4 basic chords that you'll need in order to play the entire song from start to finish. Those 4 chords are A minor, F major, which we could play as a bar chord, or in this position. So if you're unfamiliar with bar chords, feel free to use this chord shape. Our 3rd chord is a C major, and lastly we have an E minor. Okay, so let me just take you through how to play those 4 chords in case any of them are unfamiliar or new to you. So with our capo on the 2nd fret, for our A minor, we're not going to play the bottom E string at all. We're going to start off with open A string, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the G string, 1st finger on the 1st fret of the B string, and the high E is open. For our F major bar chord, we're going to be barring at the 1st fret all the way down to the bottom E string. We're then playing 3rd fret with my 3rd finger on the A string, 4th finger plays the 3rd fret on the D string, 2nd finger plays the 2nd fret on the G string, and the high E and B strings are both covered by our bar at the 1st fret. Now if you find that a little difficult to begin with, you can simplify it somewhat by simply bringing my 1st finger all the way down to the top 2 strings and creating this little mini bar shape, and then from there, so that's 1st fret with my 1st finger on the high E and B strings, I'm going to be playing 2nd fret on the G with my 2nd finger, and then either I can play the 3rd fret on the D with my 3rd finger and play the top 4 strings, or I could play that same note, 3rd fret on the D, with my 4th finger, freeing my 3rd finger up to play the 3rd fret on the A string as well, and play 5 strings in this instance. So play around with those 3 different chord formations on the F and find which one you find most comfortable. For our C major then, we're again not playing the bottom E, we're going to be playing 3rd fret on the A string with our 3rd finger, 2nd fret on the D string with our 2nd finger, open G, and 1st finger on the 1st fret of the B string with the high E once again open. And lastly our E minor shape. So here we're going to be playing all 6 strings, so open on the bottom E, 2nd finger plays the 2nd fret on the A string, 3rd finger plays the 2nd fret on the D string, and our remaining strings, the G, the B and the E, are all open. Okay, so our chord progression for the entire song, no matter which part of the song you're playing, remains the same. We get 1 bar of A minor, followed by a bar of F, however you choose to play it, followed by a bar of C, and finishing off with a bar of E minor. We then repeat that for the entire song. A minor to F, C to E minor. Okay, so once you're comfortable with those 4 chord shapes and how they fit together in our chord progression, you might like to spice things up a little bit by introducing a strumming pattern into the right hand. So let's take a look at a very basic strumming pattern that will work throughout the song no matter which part of the song you're on. So a strumming pattern that we might like to use might sound a little something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So nothing too crazy there, there's still lots of space to allow us room for our lyrics and for our chord changes, but it's also giving us a good opportunity to practice our upstrokes as well as just getting used to playing different rhythms. So let's break that down into smaller chunks, slow it down and see what it is that I'm actually playing there. So for every bar we're going to play the same strumming pattern, so on every chord exactly the same strumming pattern. So if we really slow that down, we can see the strumming pattern breaks down as follows. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So I'm playing a downstroke on beat 1 and then catching the upstroke on the A of beat 1, so that's 1 E and A, at which point I instantly rest on beat 2, so that's 1 E and A 2, 1 E and A 2, at which point we then get another downstroke on the AND of 2, so that's 1 E and A 2 E and a 3 E and a 4, so resting again on beat 4. Again, that's 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. One more time, that's 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And as I said, that remains the same for every bar, no matter which chord you're on or which section of the song you're on, that will work. So again, at full speed, it sounds a little something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so finally let's take a look at the fingerpicking part that plays in the intro and verses sections of the song. So you're going to start out using the same 4 chords with playing the bottom A string with our thumb. We then catch the G string with our first finger and the B string with our second finger. Now, the entire time that we're picking those strings, we just have an A minor chord down in our left hand with the addition of our 4th finger playing the 3rd fret on the B string. And that gives us open on the A with our thumb, 2nd fret on the G string played with the 1st finger, and that 3rd fret played with the 4th finger on the left hand, with that string being played with the 2nd finger on the right hand. So again, that would be string-wise, that's A, G, B. We're then going to simply alternate between our bass note, which in this instance is the open A string, and the B string, where I'm going to be playing, taking my 4th finger off, 1st fret, then taking my 1st finger off, the open on the B string. So that will sound like this. Putting those two things together, we get. So again, that's thumb on the A string, 2nd fret being played on the G string with my 1st finger, 4th finger on my left hand comes down to play the 3rd fret on the B string, back to our bass note, 1st fret, pinky comes off, on the B string, back to our bass note, 1st finger comes off on the B string, open on the B string, back to our bass note, and then we finish this bar of A minor off by catching the G string, which is still the 2nd fret in our A minor, with my 1st finger on my right hand. So that whole pattern is again slightly slower. And sped up. One more time. Moving on to our second bar then, here we have our F chord, and unfortunately for the picking pattern it really is essential that we hit this F on our bottom E string, so best iteration of our chord is going to be the bar shape that I showed you previously. So here, all we're going to be doing is playing our bass note with our thumb yet again on the bottom E string, so that's that F, first fret with my first finger in the left hand. And I'm then going to alternate between the thumb on the bottom E string, the first finger on the G string, which is catching the second fret in our bar chord, and then the bass note again, and then catching the B string where my bar is fretting the first fret. So that would be thumb on the E string, first finger on the G, back to the thumb on the E, to the second finger in the right hand on the B string. And we basically play that measure twice. So thumb 1, thumb 2, thumb 1, thumb 2. And that's our whole bar of F. So if I slow that down, it sounds like this. Maybe even a little slower. And at full speed. Now that pattern that we've just played for our F, so thumb playing our bass note, which in this instance was on the bottom E for our F note, thumb to the first finger on the G, back to the thumb, to the second finger on the B. That pattern is largely going to remain the same for our remaining two bars. The only thing that is going to change is what we play with our thumb, so which string our bass note is on. We're also going to be making some changes in the left hand, but don't worry, we'll get to those in just a second. So for our next bar, which is our C chord, we're moving down here. We're not playing the bottom E string at all in the chord, so we're moving down to the fifth string, the A, to play the third fret, which is our root note, our C. But the rest of that pattern remains exactly the same. I'm going to be playing with the C chord down in the left hand. My thumb plays the A string, my first finger plays the G string, which is now open in our chord, back to the thumb on the A, and then catching the B string with my second finger, which sounds the first fret in my C shape. So that was thumb 1, thumb 2. Now for the right hand, I'm going to repeat that pattern again exactly as we just played it, thumb 1, thumb 2. Only difference being, for this second measure, in the left hand I'm going to bring my pinky down again to play the third fret, so I now get a C, but instead of the first fret on my B, I've now got the third fret on my B. Right hand remains exactly the same as before though. Thumb 1 on the open G, back to the thumb, and then the B string, which now sounds the third fret. So we put those two things together, taking my pinky off to begin with, we get thumb 1, thumb 2, pinky comes down, thumb 1, thumb 2, and again. Put them together a little bit smoother, but still keep it fairly slow, that's. And at full speed, that's. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing on our final bar, which is a bar of E minor. So in this instance, you don't actually have to have the chord down at all, as we're not going to be playing the two fretted notes in our chord. We're not going to be playing are on the A string and the D string. So we're not going to hit those two strings at all, so it's fairly redundant for us to put the chord down. But if you'd like to do that just to remind yourself where you are in the song, that's absolutely fine as well. It won't interfere with our picking pattern at all. But all we're going to do is move our thumb down again onto the bottom E string. The E string is now our E root note. And again, my first finger is going to catch the G, which is in this case is open, back to the thumb on the E, playing the B string with my second finger, back to the bottom E for my bass note, playing the open G with my first finger, back to our bass note on the bottom E, and then here is the only time that we need to use our left hand in this bar. I'm going to be playing the first fret on our B string. So again, the picking pattern in the right hand remains exactly the same. All I'm doing is adding a fretted note onto that last note of the bar, first fret on the B. So that would be E string with my thumb, G, back to the E, open B string, back to my E, open G string, back to my E, and then first fret on my B string. Picking pattern, as I said, remains exactly the same. Thumb 1, thumb 2, thumb 1, thumb 2. So again, if I play that one more time, thumb 1, thumb 2, thumb 1, thumb 2, that first finger just coming in for that very last note. And again, at full speed, we get. Okay, so let's put all of that together and see how it sounds. So going back to our A minor, this is the only time where we have to squeeze in 2 notes after our first bass note. So I've got, I need to get the 2nd fret on my G and the 3rd fret on my B into the same space as I'm only putting 1 note throughout the rest of this picking pattern. So I've got, then playing the bass note again on that A string, 1st fret on the B string, bass note on the A, open on the B string, bass note on the A, 2nd fret on the G. So you can hear how there's just twice as many notes to squeeze into that first gap after my first bass note. So that whole bar once again should sound like this. That's the only thing to be aware of. The rest of the picking pattern is largely the same, with all the notes being of equal measure. So it should sound a little something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. I'll play that one more time for you, just a little slower so you can play along if you like. We get 1, 2, 3, 4. Start this out and say, I gotta get it off my chest. Got no anger, got no malice, just a little bit of regret. Nobody else will tell you, so there's things I gotta say. Gotta jot it down and then get it out, and then I'll be on my way. You're not half the man you think that you are, and you can't fill the hole inside of you with money, drugs and cars. I'm so glad I never ever had a baby with you, 'cause you can't love nothing unless there's something in it for you. I feel so sorry, I feel so sad. I tried to help you, just made you mad. I had no warning about who you are. I'm just glad I made it out without breaking down, and then ran so very far that you would never ever touch me again. Won't see your alligator tears, 'cause no, I've had enough of them. That's the end of this video. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like if you enjoyed it or found any of it useful. You might also like to check out some of these videos and let me know in the comments section below what you'd like to learn next. Until then, I'll see you there.